Okay. Move this out of the way. I'm going to have to bat it with my hands or something, and Spirit gets working with me. Infinite Spirit, dear Mother, Father, God, as always we invite your presence as we sit, and we would welcome all those from Spirit who have gathered here to be with us today. We ask now whatever might be most helpful for the man who's now sitting with me. If there's any guidance or information that would be helpful for him, possibly a sense of direction in an area. And of course, we welcome the loving touching in from those in Spirit. We ask whatever is brought be for his highest and best good, and that it come through clearly. And thank you, because we know it comes with love. Amen. Okay, say your name, please.
Joseph Walter Hauschel.
Okay, Joseph Walter. You're what I call a pretty deep thinker. When I connect, they give me very often that energetic impression, and what I just feel is a lot back here. Some people think here, they just get the information, they swipe it across, and they're down the road. You're a deep thinker. You like to take things back, and you like to kind of go around a few times, so you got every little bit. You understand that?
Yes.
It can sometimes take a little while, but you just have a sense. If you don't do it, if you have to make a decision just like that, it makes you a little antsy.
Yeah.
Because you are a deep thinker. You're mainly visual as far as how you get your information. But there's a little bit of auditory with you too. Okay. Probably more so as we go on. Well, I have a woman who's trying to get herself situated here. Okay. As she's sitting here with me, I'm feeling a woman. She doesn't have a great big frame. She doesn't have really heavy, thick bones. But because her wrists and ankles are nice and small. Her hands aren't really big either. But she's packed quite a bit on as she's sitting here. And, okay, we definitely have the extra chin there. Nice eyes. Kind of a shorter face, I think. A little wider, and not a long face, a little bit wider here. Full cheeks there. The nose gets a little bit long. It's a nice nose, but it might be out just a little bit. The chin is quite rounded. She's got some fine lines out from her eyes, a couple on her forehead. She's got the chins, but because she has got that extra weight on, her face is filled out, so you don't see all of the little things that time does. Her hair, she had fairly nice hair. It's gotten gray, and it seems like there might have started out where there was gray in one area, in one area, but she's got a lot more of it there. And I think when she was young, she used to bite her fingernails. I don't know if she did it in adult life, but I just feel like I want to put my fingernails up here and bite on them. And that she had a nice laugh, and she had a giggle. She could giggle, and then she had the laugh as well. She was a woman who liked to do things herself. If people were coming over for something, she liked to do the preparation. She liked to get things set up. She'd let people help her clean up afterwards, but she was the one that wanted to get everything just right. And she'd make kind of a production of it if it was some kind of occasion.
I think that might be my dad's mother.
It feels like grandma energy. And she's playing with a ring. Did I get lost? She's moving it around in that. Anyway, and I feel with her, she was a woman, she'd be kind of quick sometimes with how she'd do things. And sometimes she'd be in the middle of something, and she'd stop and she'd look a little bit. She'd be thinking, whether she forgot something and then she had to go do it. She was a bit of a perfectionist as far as how things had to be.
Yeah.
And would have, if some child was in washing dishes, she'd look at them afterwards, and if some weren't quite right, she'd give them back to them. No, you have to do it better. Yeah.
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 That sounds like my dad's mom.
Okay. Well, she's coming in here, and she says, now that if you wash a dish, it's got to be done right.
Yeah.
And she says that was good training for you. But what she wants to say for you, she says things didn't go really smooth for you. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Particularly, at the upper end of school and after that, things haven't gone really smooth for you. She says you have to get in there and do this for whatever you're getting, don't you?
Yeah.
And she says you sometimes think to yourself, that's not fair. And she says fairness has nothing to do with it. She says sometimes people seem to have things kind of handed to them. And she says other people have to really get in there and scrabble for what they want. And she says it doesn't mean anything that's just how it is right now. She says, but you can. And you know that it's up to you. If you want to get someplace, it's up to you to get yourself there.
Right.
Because nobody's going to hand it to you. So she says, in a way, you're better prepared than a lot of people who think something's going to happen, get handed to them. And if they don't get something handed to them, they don't know what to do other than complain. And worse. She says, that's not you. She says, and she says, it's not always going to be this tough. She says, right now, it's tough times. Not just for you, for everybody. She says, a lot of tough times. And she says, these things have to kind of, the way things are, and she's scooching kind of, making gestures like a lot of us would like to at the government. And that. But she says things have to kind of move up, kind of get up to the top, and they have to flip-flop around a little bit. So she says it's probably going to take about a handful of years for things to get, going, so you can kind of, what you can kind of count on. So she said in the meantime, she says you just have to, keep doing what you know how to do. And you have to know your people are with you. And she says, once in a while, she says, you get kind of a quirky idea in there, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, quirky or wild and crazy. You might think of it that way. She's calling it quirky. Well, she says, don't necessarily, even if you're not getting any support for it. She says, don't throw it out. Just tuck it in the back of your mind. Maybe it isn't the time for that wild and crazy idea. But she says, don't figure, no, that doesn't, She says, just keep it in your file box. Because she says, you may find out in some years that you're going to be able to do something along those lines.
Okay.
Okay? She says she's not going to say anything to you about what she thinks you should be doing for yourself. You know that well enough. But just know, you have those up there who care about you and love you. Okay. She's out. Okay, who else wants to come in? I don't get names too often, but every now and then, they holler one at me. So I'm hearing Edward. I don't know if that's one you'd place or not, but I'm just hearing the name. No one's coming and sitting, but I'm just hearing with both ears, Edward. If it rings a bell to you later on, fine. But anything they bring me has to come out of my mouth. Don't stretch your mind,
Okay.
But it wasn't just a little whisper, it was really both ears. Now, Edward would be the formal name. It could be Ed, Eddie, something else, but that's the name. So, okay, are you coming? That'll take you a little while, okay. Can I take someone else? I have a man over there who's kind of joking a little bit. He's coming along as if he had a kind of hard time to get, from one place to the other. And he was kind of doing that, and he knows he can just come and sit with me. So just come in here. As he's sitting here, we've got a fairly ample man here. I'm going to give him a little average height. Were you? Somewhat average. He's giving himself average height. Kind of big across the chest. Big across the head too. He's got a sense of humor. I'll tell you that right now. Fairly good sized man here. His legs were kind of heavy too, and that as well as the upper part of his body. I think sometimes he couldn't button his jacket or coat or something. He'd have to pull it and try to bring it out there. He does have kind of a broader forehead here. His face is kind of broad and a little narrower down in here. It narrows down in here. A little bit of a longer chin, kind of a nice, not thin lips. He's got a nice mouth there. He really does. Teeth aren't much, but mouth is good. The nose gets a little wider right at the bottom. It's not wide right up in here. Eyebrows are rather heavy, and the eyes are kind of, there's not a big space between the eyebrow and the eye. They're a little bit, kind of squinched in together here now. Kind of puffy around there too. Ears nice and tight to his head. Hands were kind of broad, okay. And what, indicating something with his right arm. I have no idea what he's talking about. It's on his, I feel it on here. I feel he would have had some problems. Okay, the right side. There was problems on the right side. Did you have a stroke, sir? I'm not sure. He's are you playing with me? Come on, you have to give me the information so I can pass it on. He would have, at one point in time, I think he had a mustache. I feel some facial hair there. Hair thinned out a little at the temples. I think he had a fair amount every place else. His ears were kind of long too. We got gray, but he was happy that he still had a fair amount on his head. I'm feeling with him too that he used to sometimes just stomp his feet, and raise his voice and holler about something if things weren't going the way he wanted. And he did not have a real good grasp on his temper. I think he could kind of let things just kind of fly around like that. I'm feeling with him too. Okay, he's still trying to button his jacket and it won't butt over his belly and that. Have you a sense of this man?
It's Uncle Don.
Okay. He's a little bit different, He's a little bit different, and he's not going to do anything but what he's doing. He was a smart man in a lot of ways, but he was just insistent that things, he had when he got his mind set in one way, it was that way, even if someone proved it was wrong. No, he held on to that. Stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
He used to drive other people in the family crazy, but every now and then he'd be right. And then, boy, wouldn't he kind of lord it. Yeah. And take credit for things and that. I think he's got a good heart in there. But his personality, you had to love the guy to put up with him.
Yeah.
And but anyway, he's in here, and he says, "Well, he says, he says, a lot of times he said I had something to say, and it was worth saying, but there was something about the way I got it out there. It didn't sit well." And he says, in my mind, I knew a lot of the time, I did know what I was talking about. But there was something between in here and coming out here that kind of lost track. And he says it made it a little difficult for other people sometimes, but he says, he said, I couldn't help it. That's how I was. And he's not, anything other than that. Anyway, as he comes in here to talk to you, and he says hello to you too, he would have always said, noticed a woman, especially a nice looking one. and made a big thing out of it. And I think, if someone brought food out, if there was something in that, he took more than his share. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
Yeah, as if he didn't know that he'd get another meal later on. And he says, still with all his quirks, he said he loved his family.
Yeah.
And he's just coming in and he says, he says, there's times I'm there, don't you? Or he says, you do now. And he says, one thing, which is some of those wild and crazy ideas that you get. He said, if this keeps coming back, and the idea keeps popping in again, he says, don't push it down. Think it out real good, and then decide, well, maybe not quite yet. But if it keeps coming back in, he says, you pay attention to it. Are you thinking, not doing, but have you thought or talked about moving?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's as if all of a sudden I'm sitting here, he's scooted out of there, but I'm sitting here and I'm seeing some half full boxes. You know how when you're sorting things out and packing, half full, just kind of like that. That doesn't look like it got any of them. Cartons are all open because it's kind of sorting out and putting it in. And it seems what I'm aware of here, that there may be some sorting out that has to be done. Time to sort out and decide. Do we really want all this? Do we need it? I'm feeling with all the boxes there that moving is definitely going to be happening. And I don't know. You're trying to get more room?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having another kid.
Okay. Because I'm feeling that there will be more room. Initially, when you look at it, it won't look like there's a lot more room. But it's how the space functions. It will work better. Okay? So there's more, do I want to say more usable room? Yeah. And that. But if you don't have to keep all the stuff, don't. And for heaven's sakes, label everything. Write on them what's in there. You don't want to have to play guessing games later on. Do you have a basement now?
No.
No.
Do you want one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get something like that, or somewhat, that's good for storage, when that is. They're not giving me a time on that. But I don't feel it's, I wouldn't let all of the sorting out wait a long time. Okay? Okay, there's also, who's with me now? Who's sitting here now? I got a man. A man is sitting here. I'm feeling he's pretty old. I'm feeling he's pretty old as he's sitting here with me. I think sometimes he may even, I don't know if he was talking himself or his lips moved or he would kind of mumble or something, but I just feel that he spent a bit of time just where only he knew what was going on with him. I'm feeling he shrunk. I'm feeling he was, certainly maybe a little above average. I'm feeling he shrunk. I'm feeling he shrunk in size too. The skin, the flesh just kind of hanging there. His hair hasn't got all the way gray though. A little thin, but it isn't all the way gray. He's kind of bent up here. And I feel like he's always got something. I don't know if it's some kind of candy, if some kind of cough drop or something, but it's something. He'd have something in his mouth a lot. He would have liked to have that. He's fairly old there and would have probably needed to be cared for somewhat. Do you know this man?
Actually, I'm not sure. It actually sounds like something I used to have dreams about.
Okay, well, let me continue on with this. This man is sitting here with me. And as I say, he's pretty old. He looks, old. He's shrunk, size. He was tall. He's shrunk. He's not real heavy. And he does have something, whether it's cough drop or a hard candy, but something he's got would have in his mouth. And as he's sitting here with me, I'm he's saying, when's the last time you had that dream?
California? Like 16?
Okay. I'm feeling that this man, as he comes in here, I feel it's important that he is coming in here. So we're going to have to track back. I'm almost feeling I've got something. It's got some kind of a pepperminty, spearminty, some kind of a minty flavor here. And that. I'm feeling this man is a man, and this isn't a figment of your imagination. I'm feeling that this is a man who would have been, you would have seen him briefly, I think, when you were quite young. I don't think this is a real close relative. You would have seen him somewhere, and it would have made an impression on you.
Okay.
And I almost feel he would have given you one of those pieces of whatever it was he's got.
It could be. There was this guy who was a dentist. My parents knew him for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Harry. They only met him once,
Mm-hmm.
I think, but they were very close to him
Mm-hmm.
during that one meeting, and he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom believes that he haunted our house and would steal candy and hide lighters and cigarettes.
He did hang around a while. He said.
I thought that there were dreams. I thought my mom was crazy.
No.
I used to see him sitting in my room in a rocking chair eating mints.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's scary.
Okay. Just to set the thing straight, okay? It wasn't your imagination.
Did he really steal my clown dart set? Okay.
No. Something to put in his mouth, maybe. He'd take, but no, not the other. But he's just popping in because he says you wondered sometimes. It bothered you. Well, he's just saying, no, he said he just wanted to stick around. He thought you were nice people.
He used to tuck me in at night.
Uh-huh.
A spirit that used to tuck me in at night.
Yes, they do that.
You used to tell me.
I know.
Uh-huh.
It's scary.
Well, he's just popping in here. Now, you have to know, he came in here, this old guy. But those in spirit, he's just coming in so you'd recognize. Because if you were to see him the way he is now, the way he was as a younger man, you wouldn't have recognized him from anything. So he came in. But believe me, he's, but he thought he should kind of clear things up for you. As he says, you can see spirit. You can know when they're there. Kids believe. Older people have trouble with it. But he says, all of you can do it. So he's just saying, thank you. And he's fresh out of candy, so he can't give you one. And he's saying, are you taking care of your teeth?
No.
He says, maybe you can't go get everything done that needs to be done, but he says you can do everything else yourself.
I was having him see a dentist for a while.
So anyway, he's out of here.
I agree with him. Poor
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah. Brush, floss, brush, floss, brush, floss. Okay, and he's out of there. And he's fresh out of the the things they give you now, too. Oh, golly. Okay, I have a woman who's sitting here. She's sitting here. She's got her legs stretched out ahead. She's kind of fanning herself. She get warm a lot. She get her face would get quite red, and you could see the perspiration on that. Her hair would kind of kink up a little bit. She's rather bosomy, and her hands. It seemed no matter what she did, it wasn't that she was clumsy. Well, she said maybe she was. But if she was cooking, she might burn herself. If she was sewing or something, she'd stick herself with a needle. If she was doing something else, she was just, would hurt her hands a little bit, and that would bother her. But she was a woman, she was good-hearted. She had problems in her chest, definitely. I think she had problems with her heart. I think she had problems also with her stomach. I don't know, were you diabetic, dear? I'm not sure about that. Her lower legs are kind of straight down, swollen ankles almost overflowing the top of the shoes and that. But she was a very this is a dear lady. She when she was a young girl, she was pretty. When she was a fat old woman, older woman, you could still, if you looked, she just had pretty eyes and a smile, and she liked people. She liked to talk to them. Sometimes she wouldn't stop talking to let somebody else have their fair share. And that I feel aunt energy with her. I feel it doesn't feel grandmother. If it's not a aunt, it's someone who would have been, you might call them aunt, out of courtesy. Yeah, could be a neighbor lady. I don't know, but she's just popping in here. And she used to make some kind of super stew. I think she used to make it all the time. And it's something, a lot of people just loved it, but you didn't like it, she's saying.
Might be my dad's ex-wife's sister.
Okay.
Aunt Pat.
Okay.
She's my godmother. Was my godmother.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think I liked any of their cooking.
Yeah. But she said there was something she made everybody liked, and you didn't like it at all. And that. Well, she's coming in. She says, you know what that's like, don't you? When you fix something and people don't like it, and you can't, well, you have to like it. It's good. and you get a little huffy about it sometimes.
I know what she means.
Yeah.
That's how he does my cooking too. It hurts.
But, yes. But she says you have to know, we don't all have the same taste buds. And she says you might as well get used to it. She says, and don't take it personally. Just take it that they don't have an educated palate. Because if you feed someone something that they haven't been exposed to, look at little kids. You give them something and they look at this, no, So some grown people are like that. She's laughing. And she says, but you got to get over that. Just smile if they don't and say, well, it's, what kind of things do you like? Kind of ask and get them talking about the kind of things they like. Then you might get a clue as to why they don't like yours. Okay? She just thought she'd pop in. Oh, they're having fun with you, aren't they? Now, do you have some questions you'd like to ask, or anyone special?
I would like to, just because I don't know anything about them, I would like to hear something from my mom's mother or her mother.
Okay. Okay, can I have a name?
Hazel Hazel Reams.
Thank you. I feel who's sitting with me, whichever lady I've got here, I feel with her kind of stringy under here, kind of holds her head up there, chin up in the air just a little bit, sitting straight. I'm feeling kind of thinner with the upper arm. I feel kind of bony around the shoulders is how I feel, and sharp elbows in that. Feeling the head up here, a little stringy around here. The chin is not, I have to say, it's not a very, it's kind of a different kind of a chin in that. And her teeth, problems with teeth in that. The nose is a little bony right up here, and then the nose is a little different too. Kind of a higher forehead. Hair would have, she seems to have it kind of frizzy, whether it's a perm, feels more like a perm, but it, quiet, feels more like that. And I'm feeling a woman who would have been very precise on how she wanted things. She wasn't someone that was kind of easygoing. She would have been rather particular and precise about some things. Does this sound like the grandmother or her mother, please?
It sounds more like my great grandmother.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Is there
Yeah.
any way she could have you explain her to me more how she is now?
How she is now?
Yes, not how she was.
How she is now? Well, got a nice waistline, she says. And her teeth are much better than they were at the end. Her face was, well, of course, there's no wrinkles there. She would still, there's something about the chin, I'm not quite sure what in that. But her hair is kind of silky and soft, and she wears it a little bit shorter than mine. And she likes very much to dance. Okay?
Okay.
She says she looks kind of like Betty Crocker. If you see pictures, you have to look at the old ones. How Betty Crocker was portrayed in the 30s. Some old pictures of Betty Crocker, some old cookbooks. Look at how they portray. She says she looks more like that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And she says she was a little particular on what things she liked. She'd eat other things, but she would never take more of something she didn't like. She'd take some so as not to hurt somebody's feelings. And she'd somehow choke it down, you see. And she says, do you ever do that?
No.
Well, she says women are more tactful.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just say nope. I don't like that. I'm not having it.
So you can't, she says, then why would you fuss if someone doesn't like some of your food?
Well, because mine's better.
To your taste.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. God bless me. Your dog is back there.
Oh, good.
And I have the sense that your dog would eat what the other people wouldn't.
She would.
One thing I'll say about Gemini, she can wolf it down.
Hey, if she could chew it, she'd eat it.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like she's there a lot, and I have a lot of dreams about her.
Uh-huh.